Hey, so it's been a while, and I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. So I guess what I'm gonna do right now is tell you guys my thoughts of an anime I saw recently, um, Eden of the East.
たやすく手にした未来それがあなたの答えなんだ心地に立つ姿燃える翼隠す天使罪を抱え生きる誰もが悪になる漂う潮へが私を飲み込む作業をなくした心にも正しいと響いたパルス裏切り欲望その果ての楽園を今探すから
Major reason why I liked Eden of the East is because it talks about an issue that I think is sort of kind of important that sort of kind of isn't really getting talked about, which is how the current economy is affecting young people. And this is because I am a young person. But I mean, ultimately, I know a lot of young people who feel somewhat disenfranchised because of the current economy, largely because they feel they have one of three options. A, get a job that has nothing to do with what you were trained to do. B, just sort of kind of float, you know. Or C, start a job that's going to give you very low pay and or no pay because there are a lot of, unpaid internships. And I mean, the thing is, I'm sort of kind of double-sided on this issue. There's a large part of me that wants to say, as an individual, the world is the way it is. You got to do what you got to do. That's it. But as a guy who sometimes thinks about, what's going on in society, part of me feels like if you have a lot of these people who feel like they're disenfranchised because of the system, regardless of whether you agree or disagree, you need to at least discuss it. Largely, because part on an aggregate level, I think that is a valid statement that a lot of young people feel like, in a sense, the sky has been lowered. That the opportunities of even 10 to 15 years ago aren't there anymore, and that talent and hard work aren't going to get you as far as they used to. And whether you believe that or not, it's something that's worth discussing. And I really liked the show because of that, because it sort of kind of brings up this issue in a way that doesn't leave my generation completely blameless. I mean, the overall tone of it seems to be, yeah, you guys got sort of kind of dealt a bad hand, but you got to play with the cards you're dealt.
I guess they were just being polite because of my brother-in-law. But come on, we're all adults, you know? If they really thought they were so much better than me, then they should have just said so. Thing is, I already had one job offer. But when I went to the interview, they kept giving me this cheesy line about how they needed the youth of today to pave the way for tomorrow. But it seemed like what they really meant was we're looking for young people willing to work long hours for little pay, so we can take advantage of them. I ended up turning down their offer. I think it was a huge mistake. I don't feel comfortable going back home. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing but love for my entire family, especially Ryosuke. I love him so much. That's what makes it so hard.
And I like that. I really like that. where I mean because that's pretty much how I feel, in a nutshell. And I really, that the economy is sort of kind of a bust, and yeah, it is sort of kind of harder to sort of kind of get a job, and if you get a job, you're probably not going to get a good job. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to sound like an idiot when I talk about this issue, so it's probably going to be another blog post. But I mean, I just really like the show for sort of kind of talking about an issue that I think nobody's talking about. And largely because it had a view, the series had a viewpoint that I sort of kind of felt was my own viewpoint. But here's the thing, though, that drives me nuts about this series is that the phones. It's not so much that I don't like the phones as a plot device. The problem is that the series felt the need to explain the phones, and they didn't need explaining. It's a plot device. I'll run with it. But they felt the need to sort of kind of explain the phones. And the moment they did that, they set limits on what the phones could and couldn't do. And it no longer became a magic phone where you could say, Mr. Wizard, get me the hell out of here. It became, pretty much
OnStar ready. Call home.
Hi, Daddy.
And that is not cool. Well, that the problem with me is that when people say that you can do anything you want when you have the money, the reason for that is because money is easily convertible into other resources. Case in point, if I were to say I want, the tallest building in the world built in my backyard and money was no object, well, yeah, eventually I might end up with the tallest building in my backyard. At the same time, I couldn't just sort of kind of call up a guy and say, I want the tallest building in my yard, in the world in my yard. The world doesn't work that way. I mean, there's time, there's money, there's, getting people who know what they're doing. You can't just sort of kind of do whatever you want just because you have the money. And the problem is that the series explains the phones, and then rather than doing the moment they explain the phones, they cut off all Deus Machina. Like, you can't just have the phones and then do whatever you want with them. And so when certain things happen in that show, it's no longer magic phone, they can't do that, can they? No. No, they can't. No. 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 So like I said, in general, I like the show, so there you go. Peace. Alright, two things I forgot to mention before I get out of here. First off, you can check the series out at both Hulu and Netflix. I'm not sure if it's the free version of Hulu, though. I'd have to check, but you can watch it on both Hulu and Netflix. Also, check out my blog, cypheredwolf.blogspot.com. There will be a link in the description. Well, links to everything in the description, both the series and cypheredwolf.blogspot.com. So, there you go. Peace.